Hey guys, today I'm going to show you the top 5 mistakes that many DIYers make when building a wall and how to avoid them. First 4 framing mistakes that I'm going to show you are planning errors. And the final one is a catastrophic installation error, so be sure to stick around for it. I have one wall left to frame in this room that will eventually become a makerspace. As I build it, I'm going to talk you through the common mistakes that DIYers like myself make when they're framing a wall like this. Alright, mistake number 1 is building your wall too tall. I know, it sounds silly, but it's more common than you might think. This error is typically based on the assumption that your room is square, but in this 40-year-old home, some settling has happened. So I'll take measurements from ceiling to floor in multiple places and use the shortest measurement to plan my stud length. There's almost 1 inch of difference from one end of the room to the other, but the shortest length is 102 5/8 inches. Subtracting the thickness of the bottom and top plates leaves me with a final stud length of 98 1/8 inches. Alright, mistake number 2 is not building the wall on the ground first. While this is not a critical error, it'll save you time and money doing it this way, and you'll save about half of the hardware in the process. My total wall length is 139 3/4 inches, so I cut my pressure treated 2x4 that I'll use as my bottom plate to that length, and I cut another 2x4 as a matching top plate. After all my wood is cut to length, I'll assemble this wall on the floor and then raise it into place. Mistake number 3 is a planning error by not framing with the end in mind. Your studs will be supporting drywall, so you'll need drywall backer boards on all edges, and you'll need a 2x4 stud at every joint between pieces of drywall. To do this well, you're going to build your wall at 16 on center, meaning every stud will be 16 inches apart. Your tape measure highlights every 16 inches to help you with these measurements. So you're going to include a stud at every edge of the room. My first stud will begin at 3.5 inches from the end of the wall in order to sit in the corner of this room. From there, I'll simply include a stud every 16 inches along the entirety of the wall and include a final stud at the other end of the wall for that corner as well. I take my time to measure locations for these on the top and bottom plate together to ensure they're consistent. Now, the wall I'm building will also have a 36-inch door, so I'm including that in my framing plans. Alright, if you're seeing value in this content, if you could do me a huge favor, all I ask is that you hit that thumbs up button or leave a comment below. Alright, let's get back into it. This brings me to mistake number 4, not including the bottom plate through the door's rough opening when assembling your wall. I know what you're thinking. Mr. Mancycle, sir, won't that board be in the way of the door's opening, making this idea total trash? I'm so glad you asked. Keeping it connected until your wall is installed will save you headaches during door installation. Leaving the bottom plate in place will ensure that the bottom of your wall stays aligned all the way across the door opening. We'll cut that bottom plate out of the rough opening at the end. Now that everything is in place together on the floor, I'm ready to stick it together. I'm using a bow stitch air nailer for this, and you'll find a link to it in the video description in case you need it, along with the other tools I use. I'll use 2 nails to attach each stud to the top plate, and 2 for the bottom plate, which leads to a freebie bro tip. Use the right nail material for this. I'm using galvanized nails through the bottom plate. Otherwise, the treated lumber will degrade the nails and render them useless down the road. I pin each stud to the bottom plate and the top plate, attaching each stud with 2 nails through each plate. Then I attach the boards for the rough opening for the door, jack studs, header, and then cripples. Now that the wall is assembled, it's time to raise it into place and anchor it. I have the ceiling and floor locations marked in advance. I alluded to a double top plate earlier, and this is where it comes into play. Check out this short board for an example. When building a wall on the floor and raising it, if your wall is the perfect height, it actually won't fit when you're lifting it. Notice that when the wall is pivoted on the end, it will be slightly taller at this angle than in its final position. So here's another freebie bro tip. Build your wall 1.5 inches short and install a second top plate board after it's lifted into place. This will allow you to lift your wall without running into the joists above. Shim any areas still a little short and nail that thing into place. This approach also offers a built-in buffer for mistake number 1 of building the wall too tall, which is a good thing because that's exactly what I did. Check out my wall. It's about 1/8 of an inch too tall, so there's not quite enough room for that second top plate. Well, fiddlesticks! If I wasn't adding a secondary top plate, this would be a catastrophic error. As it is, I just feel a little silly and like it's amateur hour. So I use a table saw to take a bit off of my 2x4 and it'll fit just fine. This board is installed on top and everything is pinned into place. This brings us to the final mistake DIYers make, and this is a catastrophic error that there's no coming back from, and that's not leveling your wall before you anchor it to the floor. Before I pin this wall into the concrete below, I'm going to take extra time ensuring that it's perfectly level. This will save me major headaches in the long run. After ensuring level, I use a hammer drill and concrete screws to anchor it into place. Finally, I use my reciprocating saw to remove the bottom plate running through the rough opening of the door. Now the wall is installed and ready for electrical. If you need step-by-step help framing your wall, you can click here to find a video that'll walk you through it. If you'd like to see this room getting built from beginning to end, you can click here. See you next time.